everyone. Tim Hollinden here. Thank you so much for being on the Tim Hollinden Show today. I am here with my friend Andre LaFountain. He's been in the real estate business for 32 years. He was in New York for 18 years, did over 300 deals a year. He then moved to Georgia, was 9 years there as a real estate coach. He's been with Exp almost 5 years. He's a Christian man, very involved in this church. He's passionate about enhancing agents' lives and changing their business. So stay with me. We'll be right back to hear his amazing story. All right. Welcome back, everybody. Andre, my friend, thank you so much for being on the Tim Hollinden Show today. How are you, brother?
I'm doing fantastic. Happy Friday, Tim.
Happy Friday to you. At the end of the day, even. We're just going to close out and go have a drink when we're done, I think.
Well, Friday's date night, so my wife is going to be ready to go as soon as we're ready, as soon as we're done.
Awesome. Well, we better hurry it along then. Listen, let's get right to it. I'd love for you. I mean, I know your story, obviously, at least parts of it. I'm anxious for you to elaborate, but let's tell the audience just kind of what you've been doing in the real estate business for 32 years. That's a long time, brother.
Yeah, I got the gray hair to prove it, right?
I heard you.
Yeah, I got my license when I was 22 years old, upstate New York. It's funny, I got my license the same year or the same month, that I got hired at a pharmaceutical plant, the big pharmaceutical plant in my town where my mom and my father-in-law all retired from. Big, good blue collar position up there. And being 22, I knew I was gonna take a minute to get my real estate business. So when I applied for that job, and I remember the interview, she was asking me about things, and I told her I wanted to be a full-time real estate agent. So I kind of purposely was trying to mess that up so I didn't have to get that position my mom wanted me to go after, but they hired me anyway. And it was funny because I worked from 4 in the afternoon until midnight for I think 4 or 5 years at the plant, but I could sell real estate all day up until 4. And the plant was literally 2 blocks from my office. And then the last 5 years, we wanted a flex shift from noon to midnight, Saturday and Sunday, Monday. So I worked all weekend, 12-hour days, and I could sell real estate, the rest of the week. And I share that with people because I know a lot of agents get started part-time. Well, I really was full-time in real estate. I was still working 6, 8, 10-hour days of real estate, but just working another 8 hours. I just did a lot. In your 20s, you can work like crazy, right?
Yeah. You split that day up into perfect thirds, didn't you?
Yeah, right. Yeah. When people say I say, hey, I just work, a half a day. A half a day is 12 hours, right? So,
right.
But anyway, my first year, sold maybe 7 houses, then 10, 15. It took me 7 years to get to 40 transactions a year, working by myself with no help. But then I finally invested in ourselves, and we got some high-level real estate coaching from a pretty high-level coach. And that next year went from 40 transactions to 79 with just me and my buyer agent, brand new. She never sold a thing, trained her from the ground up, and then got an administrative person the next year and went to 109 units. And then I left the plant so I could work full-time in real estate. And that was kind of my start, partnered up with my partner. And we had our own independent company, and with a small team, we were doing about 300 units a year altogether. And it was good. It was fun. I did that for, over a decade, almost, like I said, 9 years doing both. And then another 10 years with my partner. And then I got an offer from the coaching company that we invested into to help us grow our business. They offered me a position to work with them and to help them coach and grow their coaching business. And they were based out of Atlanta, Georgia. So it's my opportunity to get out of the cold weather and the high taxes in New York and move south sooner than I thought. So my partner took over our team in New York, and we moved to Atlanta in 2009. I helped the coaching company grow that business. There was about 100 people in that group paying, 10 to 30 grand a year to the company to help, agents grow their businesses. And I helped them grow that to 498, almost 500 members.
Wow.
And they kind of made a change one day, and so it's like, I think the good Lord's telling me to get back into real estate because I was 49 years old, 6-figure income, 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, plan on retiring from that company, but when the Lord tells you to do something, I kind of fought it for a year, to be honest with you, Tim. I really didn't want to do it. I wanted to just keep doing what I was doing, but he wouldn't have nothing to do with it. So I finally left the coaching company and started looking. Okay, I literally gave notice, told him I was leaving, and then opportunities started coming up and heard about EXP. No one called me. Not one person called me about EXP. I reached out to someone. I asked my wife. She was a broker of a company in Georgia that had 150 agents, and I said, "Who do you know that has just a team? I could jump on a team, be a listing agent, have a staff." I like the listing part of things, like I had in New York. Gave me a guy's name. I met him once at a Christmas party, so I called him up. He said, "Yeah, let's talk." He thought maybe I could be on his team or maybe consult his team coaching and help them grow. And they shared the EXP opportunity with me, and I knew right away it was going to be a game changer. I never saw anything like it. I knew it was gonna at least I thought it was going to change the industry. So then I had to go get my license because I didn't have a license. I let it go. I was a coach. Got my Georgia license, and then joined EXP. And again, I knew it was going to take time to get my real estate business going again because I was a coach for 9 years. Hadn't sold a house in 9 years. And now I'm in Georgia. My business is all in New York. So I'm like starting over. So I actually called up a friend in Tennessee who had a team. And I said, "Hey, let me be your inside sales agent for a little while. Give me a small salary," because I was leaving the coaching company. I'll help build your ISA team out. And until I can get, some income coming in on start up my real estate business from scratch. It was good for him. It was good for me. So I worked for him from 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, calling leads to set up appointments for his buyers, for his agents, for buyers and sellers. And while I was doing that on the weekends and evenings, I was reaching out to old real estate friends that I knew, been in the business, 20 years at that point, give or take, to share the EXP opportunity. And then started calling my business partners, Jay Kinder and Al Stasic, to get help with answering questions, etc. And I was doing that a bunch. So Jay, my business partner, said, "You ought to be an inside sales agent for us and help us build our EXP business out." And obviously it was a better fit because I'd be within the same company instead of working for my friend. So I gave my friend notice, and he replaced me, and I started working for Jay and Al and Michael. And within a year working for them, so a half a year with my Tennessee friend and a year with Jay and Al, I had my revenue share passive income up to 10 grand a month. So nice. I let Jay know that, because that was a goal, to get to about 10 grand a month. And then I would, kind of move on and just work for myself. And they started looking for someone to replace me. Took them 3 months. By that time I was making 15 grand a month, and I was going to go. So I trained the new guy that replaced me. Great guy, Nick. And he kind of took over. Yeah. And then I've just been building my own business since.
Awesome. Are you still active in the selling of real estate today? Or are you strictly just spreading the good word about EXP?
Yeah, I'm selling a few homes. I sold a home to my cousins here in Florida. When I was in Georgia, I sold a few homes in Georgia, but I've been spending most of the time coaching, training my team members, doing Zooms, helping my team members grow, and spreading. I feel like I'm spreading the gospel because it's like a blessing, It's like getting, when you first get saved and you get Jesus in your life, you want to tell everybody because it's life changing, right? Yeah. And I kind of feel the same way. It's not. I mean, I'm not comparing it to salvation, but I would say it's as far as career related, it's like having the cure for cancer. To be honest with you.
Yeah, financial salvation.
There you go. That's right. I like that.
Yeah. Let's go back to New York. 300 deals a year is a lot of real estate. Give me 3 or 4 nuggets on what made you so successful? Obviously hard work, but how do you sell 300 deals a year in New York?
Yeah, it was in the beginning. I remember as clear as day. My broker said, "Here's a phone book. Let's start calling."
That's right. It was 32 years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. He said, "You start with the A's. I'll start with the Z's. We'll meet in the middle." By the time we got to the C's, I was ready to shoot myself. But he was smart because he knew I was, motivated to earn income because I could do real estate full time and not have the other position. And he told everyone in the office that just write down the name and phone number of every person you call. And I forget the amount, but I'm going to pay you whatever it was, $2 or $5. I don't remember the number, but I'm going to pay you per call. So he knew if you made the calls, it's a numbers game. At the end of the week or month, you'll hit your goal. And everyone started doing that. And I was the only one that continued. And we did that for a while. And we were cold calling, back in the day. And then of course, it just working at the pharmaceutical plant, I knew a lot of people, and people knew I was in the industry and trusted me, and just started getting a good name, and things started going. But once we paid for coaching was when things really changed. Because like I said, it took me 7 years to get to 40 deals by myself with no help. But once we got coaching and training from the coaching company, that's just it. You got to pay people that are at the level that you want to be at, so you can shortcut it and get to where they are, right? It's just everyone has a coach. I believe everyone should have a coach, no matter what industry you're in, because they pull you up faster and you can grow faster. And then we just started doing what the coaches are talking about. And then it was hotlines, right? We were using hotlines and 800 numbers and newspaper ads and the whole nine. I mean, it was later in the career, right? We got more into the internet. Heck, we had MLS books when I got started.
Right.
I had a bag phone. Things have changed in the years.
It was a much heavier business back then.
Yeah, it's just a whole different industry. I mean, really, you had to change a contract. You're negotiating back and forth, and you had to get it signed, and you would drive 10 miles, 20 miles to get the contract initialed. Press hard. There's 3 copies, and get it to the other agent to get it signed. Now it's we can do everything 10 times as fast because it's all digital, etc. But the business, as far as growing your business, it's all relationships and just doing a really good job, always doing the right thing, always looking after your client's best interest. And that's where the referral business comes in from, is because, you work hard, you do what you should always do, and always look after the best interest of your client. You're going to get more referrals. I mean, like most people our age in this business, you get 95% of it from referrals. And that's how we did it.
That's awesome. Contrast that to today. You still using the phone book?
Not the phone book. Obviously
still a lot of cold calling though.
Yeah. It's more warm calls. But for agent building our team, after a while, you run out of people that you know. I mean, I didn't call a stranger for 2 years as far as building the Exp business. I just called people that I knew on my phone. After a couple of years, then you're still doing follow up. I have someone joining tomorrow that I called originally 2 years ago, and they were actually ready almost 2 years ago, and actually even made application, but life got in the way and just didn't move forward. And we just kept on loving on them and helping them. And now when the time is right, they'll join you. Same thing with buyers and sellers. I remember one client, I think he was a for sale by owner, and I called him. I called a lot of FSBOs and expireds. I mean, that's the way to go. And you're new in the business. You don't have a lot of clients or relatives to get the business from. If you don't have any money to spend on marketing, pick up the phone and call for sale by owners and expireds. and do it properly to try to help them. Not, there's some crazy ways that I remember some agents would say to try to, get a FSBO and expire. I always just provided them with a lot of value. Never try to list their house. When I called it for sale by owner, I was just asking them, I see that they got their house for sale, and I say, I respect that. I understand you're selling yourself, no problem. When you sell your house successfully yourself, where will you be moving? Are you going to buy another home in town? Are you going to be building a new house? Are you moving, relocating? And I would try to help them on the buy side. If they were buying in town, of course, help them buy a home if they didn't have any representation in locally. If they were moving out of town, send a referral so they get an experienced agent that I knew, instead of them just trying to find one, online or whatever that they didn't know that might be only in business 2 weeks, and I can find them a experienced agent or whatever. If they were building a new home, if they didn't have a builder yet, I can hook them up with a local builder, whatever. I just loved on them and helped them on the buy side. And then asked them a couple of questions to say, hey, a lot of sellers, they kind of give themselves a time frame of when they want to sell a property, and depending on their time frame, if they may give themselves a month or so, and then what's their plan B if it didn't sell? And I would ask them, hey, could I be your plan B if in the rare case the house didn't sell? Would you be open to let me help you? Yeah. And if you and I didn't ask that right away. That was after you got the relationship going and you helped them on the buy side. And I got a lot of FSBOs for sale by owners that way. And kind of same thing with expires. We had a unique selling proposition. We offered things that other people just weren't offering back then. Yeah. And give them guarantees. Put your money where your mouth is, right? Yep. And it could be as easy as, hey, I got a guarantee. If I didn't call you back within 24 hours, I pay you $500. And we did. We literally guaranteed people. We called them back in a certain amount of time frame, or it cost us. And I never had to pay anybody because we just did what we said we would do. Right. And that's the big thing. How many agents don't do what they say they're going to do?
More than we care to talk about.
Yeah. So it's just doing what you're thinking to your clients and following through with things. And after a while, you'll get a lot of repeat business.
Amen to that. So I gotta drill down on this. You decided to leave New York. You decided to go to Georgia. You decided to get into coaching. Why did you let your license lapse? And what did that feel like, having to get it a second time in another state? What was the thinking behind it? Obviously, you planned never to use it again, I'm assuming, or you wouldn't have done it.
Yeah, I didn't plan on. I thought I was going to retire as a real estate coach. I was very surprised when the coaching company, after I helped them 5X it, made a change that would cause me to start thinking differently. Mm-hmm. In hindsight, I should not have let it go. My wife was licensed and she kept her license. So we figured, if we're going to do any real estate, personally or whatever, she kept her license, and Georgia was reciprocal to New York. So she kept it and it was not a problem. But I had to get mine all over again. Yeah, it wasn't fun. I mean, when I took it the first time, I'm in my 20s, and I just drove to the city and got a hotel and took the course for like 40 hours, 8 hours a day for a week, and then took the test, passed, and I'm done. Right. Yeah. But in Georgia, I was working full time there for my friends, so I had to do it online. So it took some time, and I don't know, it wasn't as easy as it was the first time. I thought it would be a piece of cake, being I've been doing this for 30 years, but the laws and the regulations and the differences, not the same. Yeah. But we got it. And when I moved to Florida, I'm in Florida now because, with Exp, you not only can be, financially free, and time freedom, you can also have, location freedom. So with a cell phone and internet, I can kind of live anywhere, right? That EXP's in 24 countries. So we want to get to warmer weather, move to Florida. So I got my Florida license as well. Georgia was reciprocal to Florida, so just had to take the smaller test. But
a little easier the third time, huh?
yeah, a little bit. But even Florida's law, the laws and regulations really different. I mean, the 3 different states, all totally different.
I understand that. I'm licensed in Indiana, Kentucky, and Alabama myself. So while we're on that topic, talk to our listeners about how being with EXP is beneficial to an agent that has is licensed in multiple states.
Yeah, great question. First, you're at one company. I was talking to a guy today that he's in 2 states and 2 different companies. So he's got 2 different systems, probably, 2 different caps, paying 2 different people. You can be licensed in as many states as you want in EXP, and you have all the same systems and 1 cap. So you're not paying into multiple caps. You can sell 3 houses in one state, 2 in another, and 20 in your main one, and they all go together, all under one location, and you're saving a ton.
Yeah, one deal. So you cap in Florida. What happens in your other states with the rest of the transactions you do there?
You're capped. Once you capped, you're capped.
You capped your cap. So you get
100%. So you get 100. Yeah. So you're getting 100% of the transaction.
Yeah. Heck of a plan. What else can we go down and talk about? Oh, I know I had a question when you were talking about it. You said, and you and I are both Christian men, so we can talk about this. You said you felt called. Can you go into any specifics about that? What were you feeling? What were you thinking? What do you think you were hearing? What led you to make the change?
Well, that's a great question. No one's asked me that before. Well, I remember when I was talking to my business partners about EXP, they were only in the company 2 years, and they wanted to build. They were on the agent traction side, building their organization. That's what they were good at. That's what I wanted to do as well, because we've been there, done that. Started as a solo team leader. Got first goal is get to 100 units, 200 units. We kind of been there, so we wanted to help other people reach their goals, and the guys were already making $60,000 a month on passive revenue share when I first met them, and they were only in the company like 2.5 years when I met with them. So to be perfectly honest with you, Tim, when I was in New York, I wasn't a Christian. I was born and raised Catholic. Went to church, and had an obligation, paid my $20. And I was a good person.
Exact same background. Sorry to interrupt you, but
yeah,
I understand.
So, but money was my idol, to be honest with you. And my job was to make a lot so I could build a nice house and have nice cars and hopefully pay for my kids' college. And, I had hopes and dreams, and it was all about making as much income as I possibly could. So I was working 2 full-time jobs to get ahead, right? My parents were 2 full-time jobs pretty much all their life. So I was that's what I saw and knew. But when I moved to Georgia and got into church down here and found Christ and always knew, I didn't, money wasn't going to be my idol again. It was going to be the Lord. And I remember driving to work when I was still working at the coaching company, trying to make a deal with the Lord, saying, I really don't want to leave. So if you can, work it out, so I could stay, I'd rather. But if that's your call, that you want me to leave and do something else and join EXP, I will. But I promise you that if I start earning a certain amount of income over what I really need, we'll start a ministry account and just put the excess in there and then give it to people, and maybe start a ministry was a goal, or give it to whoever you tell us to give it to.
That's so awesome, man.
So within a few years, because of the awesome platform with EXP, we opened that ministry account a couple of years ago and just started putting the excess in there. And whenever we feel called, we just give it to, like Hawaii. They did a thing for all the things in Hawaii for the burning. We donate there. I have 5 different ministries that we actually donate to on a monthly basis. of course, tithing, tithe 10% to not $20 anymore. I'm tithing, now to $3,000 a month. So it's pretty cool to be able to do that. But yeah, that was a call that if we listened and if we did earn the kind of income that I saw those guys making, we could help a lot of people. And now we're, what's been 4 years since I started working with them in the beginning. And I won't say the number, but it's a far cry from 60 grand a month. Those guys it's a lot more. And it's just the opportunity that EXP offers. So we just help more people. And it's not about just the money, it's when you help somebody reach their goal of, going from 10 to 20 houses a year, or from 20 to 50 homes a year. And you start putting systems in place, and they get free coaching and training for everything that we do. Getting the extra income, it saves marriages because there's less stress, right? It saves, there's just a lot of things that it can do to help with the agent being home more, to be able to go to all their kids' soccer games and stuff, because they're earning more income and they don't have to work 24/7. We're on a we're on that transactional treadmill, right, Tim? We're only as good as our last sale. And until you have multiple streams of income over and above just your commissions, you can't ever get off that transactional treadmill. And with the XP business model, there's multiple ways of earning income over and above just your commissions. So you're able to help change agents' lives. I know one guy that my first, and I tell the story often because it's a big deal to me. And he just texted me the other day. He just showed me another milestone that he hit, and he just thanks me all the time. And it's pretty cool when you can help someone that was doing great. He had his best year in real estate. His best year, his own independent company. He had 13 agents. They sold 250 homes that year and doing great. And when I reached out to him, he has his own independent, and I shared the opportunity. He said, "It sounds great, but I just put a $10,000 sign up, and I got my own independent company, so I'm sure we can't really make a move, but it was very interesting, and I'll check it out." But he's a smart businessman, so I didn't bug him. He kept looking at it, and then he was calling me, and I get him to my business partners to answer questions. I was new. It was like the third person that joined, and he looked at it for 2.5 months, and then he partnered up with us. And 3 years later, he's 4 years with us now, but his third year story was he went from 13 agents in his office to 30.
Nice.
Today he's got over 40, but he had 30 then. And he had 400 or 500 agents in his organization. And he was working 80 hours a week when I called him, because he was selling, out of those 250 homes, he was selling 125 of them himself.
Pretty typical.
He was right? So, the agents' income coming in that the agents made was kind of paid the bills maybe, but without his production, he wasn't doing well. So anyway, 3 years later, his hours went from 80 hours a week to 35 hours a week. And his net income, he told me, grew 5 times. Not his gross income, his net income. Because now his local team was 4 times bigger. He wasn't working so much, but he gave all those deals that he would normally have to go take care of to his team members. So he's helping change their lives and helping them grow their business. And he loves to golf, and he golfed 3 times a week all that year, and bought a property in Arizona and spends his winters in Arizona running his team instead of in Canada. So that's a pretty cool story. And
that is.
4 years into it, he's still doing really well, but just hit 700 people in his organization. And is what really makes my get goosebumps is one day him and his wife and my wife and I were together at an event, and she kind of pulled me aside. She just said, we really, Pierre and I really love you. We thank you from the bottom of our heart for you calling him and sharing this opportunity, because I got my husband back, because he's just
Aren't those stories amazing? Not the stories, but the thank yous.
Yeah.
People calling, texting, oh my gosh, Tim, thank you so much. You literally changed my life. I had a guy tell me actually he didn't tell me, he put it on Facebook. He said, I've only been at EXP 2 years and I've 10x'd my income in 2 years. And there's story after story after story. Sorry to interrupt you, and I'll have to get that guy's name from you offline. I'd see if he might be interested in coming on the show and kind of sharing that story. That would be a heck of a story to
I'm sure he probably will. He's a super nice guy. And the other part of that story is his son worked with him at his real estate company. And he was third year in the business then, 23 or 4 years old. And his best year was that year I called him, and his son did 23 units. I might have been, I think it was 23, 25 units was his best year. It was, good for your third year, better than me in my third year of real estate. But he got plugged into, and he helped his father decide to join EXP, because he told me later, he said, Dad, we can either jump on his train and ride it all the way through, or we can let it all go by. But it looks like this company's coming to Canada, because there was only 350 agents in the whole country of Canada when I called them.
Wow.
Right. So it was new coming to Canada. It's still really new. I mean, there's 7,000, but which is nothing. But anyway, his son helped him make that decision to come over. But his son got plugged in. He got into the free training. He came to the live events, and he's tweaked his business a little bit from just a couple of conversations from the free coaching and training that he got. And he went from 20 something transactions to 60 his first year at EXP. Nice. And had $90,000 worth of stock his first year, and he was, in his 20s. And I know the next year, I think he went to about 100 units. And he wanted to just build production. He had no interest in building an organization. He just wanted to sell more houses and build his production, like most agents coming into EXP. But in that first 3 years, well, it's 4 now, I guess. So 4 years, because I interviewed him for his 4-year anniversary, the son, a few weeks ago, and he was telling me that because he, tripled his business in those couple of years, he had agents calling him saying, "Geez, what are you doing?" And organically, he never called anybody. And organically, I think he had 9 or 10 people in those, few years that joined his organization. And he said it was pretty fun, because in the beginning it paid for his gas in his big truck. He thought that was cool because it was free gas.
Right.
And then a few more months, it was paying for his truck payment. So he got kind of excited about that. He's paying for his truck payment.
Heck yeah.
And now he told me on the interview the other day, it's paying his mortgage payment. So, and he just got married, and just this past year, and they were able to go on a 30-day honeymoon, and his business is working and without him, because he's got another team member or admin, whatever, that helps him, and we've literally changed his life as well, and now they're expecting their first, and we're all involved in all of that because of the phone call of me picking up to call my friend.
Right. And
what if I didn't call him? If it was somebody else, he might have heard it from somebody else, but he might not have really looked into it because he might not have known that person that well. But it's heartwarming when you're. It sounds kind of cliche, right? Changing people's lives, but the thing is, when you ask any real estate agent from any company, "Hey, how do you love it over there? How do you like it?" Most, if they're happy, they'll say, "Yeah, I like it. It's great. My broker's great. I love it there. It's all good." But not once have I ever heard from any other agent from any other company when I asked them how do they like their company and how do they like it over there. No one's ever said it's been life-changing.
Yep.
Not one. But
I've never heard that either.
But if you talk to a real estate agent at EXP and ask them how do they like it, that's 7 out of 10 times they'll tell you, oh my God, it's been life-changing. Why do they? There's got to be something here.
Right. So what do you say to that person? They're all negative. No, I don't want to look. I'm happy where I am. Yeah, life-changing, blah, blah, blah. Let's start with the individual agent. What do you say to the skeptical individual agent? You know, there's a lot of change going on in our industry right now. A lot of people are getting their splits cut, their fees increased. I just saw an Inman article today. They're saying 20 to 40% of the agents will probably leave the industry. You know, we went from 1.4 million in the last recession down to about 1 million, you know, lost 400,000, you know, that's almost 40% back in the 07, 08 timeframe. What do you say to that individual agent? And I'm going to ask you the same question about a team and a broker in a minute. So just stick to the individual agent. What do you say to that skeptical person?
Well, it's actually pretty the same. Well, I guess it is different on the solo agent. Honestly, especially if they're happy where they're at, say, hey, that's great. Stay where you're at. You know, take coming over to EXP off the table. You can't come here. I don't want you to come here. But you know, let me ask you: Are you a learner? Do you like to learn new things? And most people will say, yeah, they like to learn new things. They'll say, well, why don't we do this? Would it be okay if I give you a backup offer? Let me give you a $10,000 over asking price, no contingencies, no inspections, close whenever you want to, backup offer. So you can just kind of put it on your desk and let it collect dust for years. I don't care, but at least it'll be there. And if anything ever changes in the future, and can we both agree that that's the only thing that we can plan on is change, right? Look at the industry. Look what's going on right now in the industry. Yep. Isn't it just smart business to have a backup offer before you actually need one?
Heck
and of course, yes. So let me just be that backup offer. Let me share the information with you so you'll have it. And if anything changes, you can dust that off and you'll call me because, you know, I was the one that knows that you're not coming, but I still want to put the time and effort into educating you on what's available because there's things available now that were never available to other real estate agents ever and still not at other companies. And, you know, I just feel I owe it to you to share it with you. Would you be okay with that? And most of the people will, if they're open-minded. Now, there's some people that are just closed-minded, you know, and unfortunately, that's the most expensive thing you can have is a closed mind. And so we can't help those people, at least not right now. And you just follow up with them in 6 months or whatever it might be. And because things change, right? Things will change.
Absolutely.
I had one girl call me up after I hadn't talked to her in a while because she was never leaving. She loved the company she was at, but she met with her accountant, and her accountant said, "Do you know how much money that you're paying your broker? Do you understand how much? I mean, it was a lot of money." And got her thinking because her accountant said, because I'm sure the accountant does books for other real estate agents. Say, man, you paying them a lot of money. Did you know that? And when she went home and told her husband how much money they were paying the broker, because they never really, I guess, kept track of it. I don't know. Caused her to say, well, let me remember Andre telling me with the production that I do, EXP would be paying me to be here. So maybe I should check into that.
It blows me away that most agents don't have a clue what they paid their broker last year.
Yeah, it is kind of crazy. Well, they feel, hey, they got to make a living. They're paying a certain percentage, no problem. But if they don't have a cap and they're a big producer, I saved the Remax guy in Canada I think it was $125,000 a year from the difference of having no cap, even though he was at 95-5 split. Wouldn't want an 80-20 split. Oh my God, he's got 95-5, but no cap. And then he was paying, I don't know, $10,000 a year or more for coaching, and he was paying for lead generation systems or in top, contact management systems. And when he joined us and we did the math, actually, he did the math afterwards, that after that first year, I saved $125,000 by doing the same exact thing at EXP, by having the cap and being able to get all the tools and systems and free coaching and training. And what is $100,000 a year? And if you got another 10, 20 years in your career, that could you can reinvest some of that back in your business. How much more business that can you do if you were putting a percentage of that back in your business in marketing, right?
Yeah.
Paying for your kids' college education, setting up trust funds. I mean, giving it to your ministry. I mean, that's a lot of money, and that's just in savings sometimes for the top producers, right? And then you have all the ownership that we all get from the stocks, et cetera.
When even if that top producer didn't reinvest it in his business and didn't invest it at all, you're talking $1 to $2 million in principal additional in that 10 to 20 year period.
Yeah.
It's
amazing.
What agents that are listening to us today can say, oh yeah, I'm going to have $2 million in extra money 20 years from now by just continuing to do the same thing that I'm doing?
Yeah, if they really realized that, if they were open-minded and really did the math. And the other thing is, you got to talk to someone like yourself or myself. They've been in the company for a while. We can really look at it at a granular level and really, drill down on all the differences. Some people will do the math themselves and they think, oh, I'm only going to save $5,000 a year. It's not worth the move. They're not looking at it at all. They don't know. If you're not part of it, you don't know. Well, you don't know. You got to add in the health insurance savings that, if you're paying a lot for your health insurance, you got to add that in. You got to add in the free stocks that you'll get from selling your first house, from capping, from Icon. And, when someone icons, you're an Icon agent yourself, you get your entire cap back and stock.
Right.
So the company is literally paying you to be here. Well, if they were paying 10, 15, 20 grand to their other company, and there's no way they can get it back, well, that 10 or 15, 20 grand, add that by, a 5, 10, 20 year career. Again, that's a lot of income.
Sure is.
Yeah.
What about the team leader? It's got 5 team members, team leader. That was my situation. I came over. I was never leaving Remax. I was the guy that had the 95-5 split, but I probably saved $125,000 a year when I made the move, just in 5%, because there was no cap at Remax. I don't know if there is anymore, or what they've done since I've left. But what do you say to the team leader that's saying, I'm happy where I am, and make it about the team leaders' compensation and the team members' compensation? Just to touch on that just briefly, if you would.
Yeah, depending on the team leader's size, I'll just ask them questions. That's the way you got to do it. You got to just ask them questions, find out where their pain point is. What is it that they're really struggling with? And usually the team leaders, it's several things. When they're trying to grow their team, they're at 5 or 10, trying to get to 10 or 15 or whatever it might be. They got a lot of turnaround, a revolving door. That used to irk me. You'd bring in an agent, you train them 3, 4, 5 years, get them from nothing to producing 3, 4, 5 transactions a month, and then they take you to dinner. Thank you. You become best friends, and they're ready to spread their wings and start their own team. And you can't be mad at them. They're doing what you did, but financially the alignment is broken, and now they're your competition, and you're always training your competition. So that normally is always a sore spot with team leaders. And we share with the EXP model. We want your team leader or your team member, you want to coach them up. And when they're ready to grow their own business and they're ready to get to that level, you want to push them out of the nest, and you want them to grow their own team. You literally would love to see them grow a team bigger than your team. Mm-hmm. and do 2-3 times more than you ever did. Now, you could never say that in any other model, but in this model, right, because you're still financially aligned, because you sponsor that person, you're still going to get paid from the company, not from the agent, but from the company on a revenue share. And you're going to grow on, as you help them grow their team, you're going to be compensated by the company as well. So you don't ever lose the financial alignment. So I asked him, hey, how would you feel if I could, you can't guarantee no one's ever going to leave because, there's sickness and there's, challenges in life, right? But they'll dramatically reduce the amount of people that'll ever be your competition again. They normally will at least perk up to want to listen. And then if they're, depending on the size of their team, we'll ask them, what is your team members' caps? Some have none, others will have caps, and usually our cap is lower, right?
Mm-hmm.
For a team of less than 10, it's $8,000. If it's more than 10, depending on their volume, it's $4,000. I haven't heard of too many other team members only paying $4,000 on a cap, or even $8,000 at some point, and still be treated no less than. They still get stock, they still get all the training, they still can get health insurance, they still can get revenue share, they on and on and on. They still get all the perks and privileges that anyone gets, and their cap is a lot less. And if they really care about their team members like they say they do, and if they're open-minded to learn and they do the math, they'll find out that their team members would be better off in our model because they can't provide what EXP provides, especially the ownership piece. Right?
Absolutely. So true. Okay, let's move to the broker owner, independent broker owner. A little bit different. They have a lot more pain than individual agent does or a team leader does. What's the benefit to the broker owner to take a serious look at this in a market like we're in right now, where most of them are losing their butt right now? Let's be honest. I mean, they were barely making money before the market turned, and now I guarantee you most of them are in the red. What do you say to that person? And
that's the hard part, because most of us, and I was a broker owner, with my partner as well. It's your baby. You built this thing. It's all your blood, sweat, and tears, and you're proud of what you've built. And even if you're not making the kind of money you used to, or you're bleeding, you don't want to admit it because it looks good on the outside. So
we had big egos, didn't we?
Oh yeah, we had huge egos. That's why, like, most of our names of our teams are the name of our company, right? We had, it was Andre LaFountain's home selling team. It was, it's the name of your. A lot of times, the name of your company is your name. I mean, how much more prideful can you get, right? And if you make a change in your back of your mind, the devil's telling you, geez, everyone's going to think that you failed. You're closing your office down. But if you can get them to dig through the layers and just be truthful a little bit with you, and we kind of, even if they're not truthful with you, we kind of usually know the numbers of where they're probably at anyway. And you can dig, start peeling back the layers a little bit. We usually know their pain points. One big one is the expense, right? The expense of the office, all the expenses that go with it. And ask them, if I could show you how you could really reduce your expenses, because of all the technology that EXP provides, all the back end systems, all the employees with all the different, we have accounting, we have tech support, and the independent broker owners, usually they're the accountant, they're the tech support. They're pretty much doing mostly everything. Maybe they have a manager, maybe they have some TC or some administrative people, but they're still involved with all the headaches.
And if they have those people, those are more salaries.
Exactly. And then ask them about their, if I could show you how you can reduce your liability, that you have no exposure whatsoever except yourself. If one of your agents make a mistake in the past, and if they've been in business for any length of time, they've probably been sued once or twice. And it could be, your agent made an honest mistake. But the agent gets sued and the broker gets sued. And if that's happened to them just once, you can see it in their eyes that it was a very stressful, painful situation. Even if they did nothing wrong and the insurance, took care of, some of it, it still was it was really draining.
Yeah. Well, they
And
still
yet,
had to pay to the deductible, and they still had the lack of focus cost that it's difficult to put a number on because they were distracted by the weeks or months that suit went on.
Yeah, that's right. So you kind of find out some of those pain points and ask them, hey, would you be just open-minded just to take a look and let me share with you an opportunity that was never available for brokers before? And I'll say, been in the business 32 years as a solo agent, team leader, independent broker owner like yourself. And before seeing EXP, when I was thinking of, changing, leaving the coaching company, I thought for a few minutes about opening up my own independent again. And I say a few minutes because you start remembering some of the lawsuits, and you remember the high lift and the expense and the babysitting and some of the agents that you have. So I've been there, and I tell them, but when I seriously looked at getting back into real estate again and thinking about starting my own independent, I never really earned the amount of income that I thought I should for the amount of responsibility and the time and effort and the hours I was putting in, easing it as the broker owner and having all the expense. And I never got to a point saying, wow, I'm getting paid more than I'm worth, really. You're getting paid more income for the more output than you're putting into it. That never happened.
Yeah.
And after looking at the EXP model, I can honestly tell them that I would absolutely never open up an independent brokerage ever again, because you really can have your cake and eat it too, because whatever it is that you like doing, if you like selling, you can sell. If you like mentor, you can mentor and get paid for it. If you like building teams and are building people up to grow their teams, you can do that. If you love just training, you can do that. Most independent broker owners start their own company because they think we're gonna be able to just sell a lot of houses and help other people do that. But you don't know about all the other stuff until you're actually in it, right? And when you move over to EXP, you can take your good name. People know, like, and trust you because of the good name that you've built, and you're able to take that name. If it was, the Andre LaFountain home selling team, I can keep the Andre LaFountain home selling team with all my colors and my branding, and I just got to add, whatever the state says, the size it's got to be, brokered by Exp Realty.
Right.
So I'm able to take my boutique or my brokerage and just lay it on top of the EXP Global Foundation, with all the inner workings of their 1,000+ whatever number of employees that we have. So you don't lose your branding. So everybody in town, like my friend in Canada, the name of the company is still, his last name is just brokered by Exp Realty. His colors are the same. So the public doesn't even really know that it's really changed that much.
Right. And sometimes it's as easy as adding a sticker to your sign.
Yeah, it can be. Yeah. Yeah. So if you can get them to, again, let me give you a backup offer. If anything ever changes, geez, Tim, you're running this show, and if God forbid something happens, and I know your story from you sharing with me, if something ever happens and you can't work for a few weeks, or what if you can't work for months? What's going to happen to your company? What's plan B? Let me be your plan B, and at least let me give you that backup offer. So it's available to you if and when you ever need it. And if they'll do the math, they're normally going to come out so much better and not have the liability, the exposure. And instead of being the only person involved, that makes all the decisions, and who do you go to when you want to network and collaborate, you normally have to go out of town. You're not going to collaborate with your colleagues in your same city because you're all competitors. So you got to spend a lot of money and go out of town and go to conferences and pay for other things to get to other people that are outside your marketplace to collaborate and to find out what they're doing to pour into you. And you can get all that at EXP because, we have business partners, in all 50 states and 24 countries that are willing to pour into you because they know even if there's no gain in it for them personally, because you're not tied to their business, because we're all at the same company and we're all owners of the company, as the stock rises and the worth of the company rises, our wealth rises with it because we're all stock owners in the company.
Right.
So the collaboration is like nothing you've ever seen before.
Well, and I thought you were going to go down the path of on the training, you pay to go to conferences at these other companies and you get that, once or twice a year. And we get that every day from thousands of Icon agents.
That's right.
That training is available every single day. I mean, we teach over 80 hours a week in our office, the cloud office.
That's right.
And I've never seen that anywhere before either.
The only way someone's not going to be successful in our platform is they don't get plugged in.
I agree.
The only people that I know of that really leave the company is because they're a lone wolf and they didn't get plugged in and they really have no clue what's at their fingertips.
Or chose not to plug in. I see that more often than when we say they didn't get plugged in. That almost sounds like someone else is to blame. But what I normally see is they chose not to plug in. They chose not to go to some of those classes, and they chose not to have the water cooler chat in the EXP world, or they don't log into their workplace system and they don't see everything that's going on, all the advice that's constantly given.
Yeah.
They've never looked at the referral group. If you log into our referral group in workplace at any given time, within the last hour, you can see 20 referral opportunities going on in different places. There's 84,000 referral partners, 89,000 referral partners that we have. But I know we're getting, go ahead. Say.
I was going to say, that's what I meant exactly, is they choose not to get plugged in. And you almost have to shut everything off, because I know, like my team, I try not to, send out too much information because, we're busy. But we send at least one email a week and a text a couple times a month at the very minimum, inviting them to the things that we're doing. I mean, we have over and above what EXP offers, our team has 4 trainings a week, 4 trainings a week that they can get plugged into for absolutely free. So they almost have to unsubscribe from our emails and block us that they don't want to get help. Otherwise, we're always offering, to help grow their team, because we only win when they win, and we take it very seriously to help people.
Built-in incentive to help them. Well, as we start to close, back to the market conditions today, and I know you were a coach for 9 years and still do a lot of coaching to your team members today. What's your best coaching advice to an agent that's struggling right now in this market?
And they probably hear it over and over again is really get back to basics, and it's about relationships. If you continue to dig into your relationships with all your past clients and the people that not to try to get more business out of them, just love on them and see what you can do to help them personally. They're going to remember when that opportunity does come along. That's one opportunity. Another is affiliates. I mean, we're all in the business with affiliates, right? From the bankers to the appraisers, the inspectors. I mean, there's a long list of affiliates. So if at the very least, you should have good relationships with your affiliates and refer them. Refer, those good affiliates. Refer your handyman. Refer the pool guy. Refer, the inspectors, etc. To your friends and your past clients, and of course, if the more that you give your affiliates business, the more they're going to be able to give you business. And you got to make it easy for them and put systems in place to make it easy for them to text that person to refer you, and you can get a lot of business that way. And the last thing is just get on the phone. I mean, if you're in real estate, you're in the sales business, and you need to get on the phone or social media, whichever you prefer, and get the message out there that you're here to help people, and you can get the business coming to you.
Yeah, that's great advice.
Yeah.
Anything I haven't asked you that you'd like to touch on, or any other advice you'd like to give our viewers before we sign off?
I think if the one word I'm kind of known for is consistency. You got to be consistent. Figure out what you're good at. If you're good at social media, if you're good at just making phone calls, if you're good at going to events, and volunteering, for your church, whatever it is that you're really good at and you really love doing, just keep doing that and being consistent. I mean, you could be a soccer mom, but you're out in the community all day long and you got your real estate shirt on, and you don't have to talk about real estate, but people know that you're in the business and you're helping, you're out in the community, you're going to get business that way. If
Absolutely.
you're a social media person, then you're on social media all the time and providing value to people, and you're going to attract buyers and sellers to you. If you're like me and not afraid of just getting on a phone call and reaching out to people, the number one thing is being consistent, because you got to do it every day and you got to block off time. Whatever it is that you're good at, block off time and do it every stinking day, 5 days a week. And after a few weeks and months and years, that's really going to pay a lot of dividends. People overestimate what you can accomplish in 3 to 6, 12 months, but you underestimate what you can do in 3 to 5 years.
Right.
So you got to have a 5-year plan at least a 5-year plan of what you want to do for your business, and figure out what you're good at and be consistent at it. And that's what I did with EXP. I had a 5-year plan of what I wanted to do. I was very consistent at doing what I was doing, reaching out, and we hit our first goal in the first 2.5 years. Now, if I would have had a 1-year, I didn't hit my 1-year goal. I didn't do what I thought I could do in the first year. But by 2.5 years, we hit our 5-year goal. So what if I would have quit in the first year because this is too hard, or I wasn't consistent? But the cool thing with our model is there's thousands of people that are doing very well, at the company, with whatever it is that they're good at, selling houses to building teams, whatever it might be. There's too much evidence that you can be successful in this model, and the only way that you're not going to hit your goals and not be successful is if you quit before you get over that hump.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing is easy. Nothing's given to you. You got to put the time and effort into it, work at it, and time block and be consistent, and it'll change your life. That's what I've always done.
Yeah. That's such great advice, man. Andre, I appreciate you so much. Thank you for pouring into your agents and making EXP a better place. I respect you as a man, as a Christian, as a team leader. Just, I've really enjoyed getting to know you. I appreciate all you've had to share with our viewers. And if I can ever help you out in any way, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Be more than happy to help you any way I can, brother.
That sounds great. I'll definitely take you up on that, and happy to be on your show. Thanks for having me.
It's been my pleasure. I know our audience has enjoyed it. You've given us lots of nuggets, and tell your wife hello and enjoy date night, most importantly.
All right. That's where I'm headed. Have a great evening.
All right, brother. Thanks again. We'll see you soon.
All right. Thanks, Tim. God bless.
Take care.